Welcome to the first episode of the off-season podcast of the Eddie Show. Don't worry about it. We're not going to do the crazy calls this time. We're just talking about stuff, and I'm basically giving my opinions of stuff out there. You know what I mean? Like what's going on in modern day society. We're not doing the, over dramatic or cartoonish uh, call-ins and shit like that. So, the one thing I would really like to talk about today, and the thing about this podcast is we're just talking shit. You know what I mean? But with reason. It's not just talking shit for the sake of talking shit. I really just want to. These are just opinions. I really just want to get out there to the world. If people agree with me, they don't. That's fine. If they do, that's great. Whatever. You are entitled to your own opinion. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you say about my video or whatever opinion you have of this video, it's not an insult. You know what I mean? Like, I respect you. I'm not going to judge your opinion, whether you disagree with me or not. We can always, talk about it in the comment section. Today, the subject I want to talk about is dick riders. I don't know. Maybe I just got demonetized, or I'm not even getting monetized anyway, but maybe I just got censored because of that. So, bandwagoners. There you go. I'm going to have to probably censor that later on in the editing process. I think bandwagoners have gotten really out of control in this day and age. And, audiences, this is another video for another day, audiences accepting mediocrity. But this kind of ties into this. And I feel like, there's a lot of people that hop on a bandwagon nowadays. And I feel like it's the lowest form of, individual thought, and people just hop on a bandwagon in order to, especially nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Back then it was like, and I want to say in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was more like, oh, I'm hopping on the bandwagon because this is like a winning NFL team that, is undeniably, the best in the league. So I gotta hop on the bandwagon because obviously, they're the best team out there. So it makes sense for me to hop on this bandwagon. So I gotta support the Green Bay Packers, or I gotta support the Baltimore, was it Panthers or something like that? I'm not an NFL fan. I'm just giving examples. You know what I'm saying? Or like the what was that basketball team? The Golden State. The team that Steph Curry's on. Yeah, I'm sorry. You can make fun of me in the comment section, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, the Celtics. It's a great team. It's become undeniable to the point where I have to accept that they're a great team. Nowadays, it feels like there's somebody that's popular, and for a shadow of a doubt, like, this person shouldn't be this popular, or there's no way that this person is this popular, because if they were really this popular, or if they were really out there and making a lot of waves and moves, you'd hear somebody talking about them on the street just when you walk to work, or when you walk home from work, or when you're at a family gathering. Somebody would talk about this celebrity and be like, hey, did you hear this new hit single that this so and so made? And I feel like social media plays into this a lot, where somebody is really fucking mediocre, and a lot of people just tend to go online, especially in the comment sections. They tend to just be like, oh my god, this is so amazing, this and that, blah, blah, blah. All right, the one thing I can really relate to, I'll give an example, modern wrestling, like modern WWE. Like, when you tune into Raw on Netflix, you're not getting the show that you used to watch in 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that. oh, Eddie, but that was 20 years ago. I get that. I get that. But wrestling is one of those things to me that kind of like, if it makes sense to you guys, it's supposed to emulate and replicate what is popular in society, which is why when you look at Cody Rhodes as the WWE champion, it's like, this makes sense, you know? And I'm not saying that in a good way, like, oh, this makes sense, you know, it's the reason why he's a champion, he's a good wrestler. No, he's in my opinion, he's one of those mediocre, shitty wrestlers out there. He's not entertaining. He is not, what's the word I'm looking for? Enthralling enough for me to keep my eyes glued to the screen. And on top of that, he has this schedule to where, like, he can show up whenever he wants. And the commentary team has the audacity to fucking gaslight you and say, oh, but he has the John Cena schedule. I'm 28 years old. I'm pretty sure that people that grew up in the same time frame as me, like 1997, and who became wrestling fans, I want to say in the early 2000s to late 2010s, you definitely know that the John Cena schedule, the John Cena schedule means that you're showing up every Raw, every SmackDown, you know what I'm saying? Especially, well, in the brand split times in the early 2000s when it actually mattered, you know, you knew he was showing up for every SmackDown when he was a doctor of thugonomics. You knew he was showing up for every Raw when he turned into Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect Cena. You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew this Cena meant business, and you knew that we were, if Cena was going to take a cheap loss, I want to say, like a dirty loss to the heel on a pay-per-view, you knew he was going to be there Monday night. Like, the pay-per-views used to take place on Sunday, you know, for all those new kids around. Like, I get it. Like, you know, for the people like 10 years old, you're like, oh my God, you know, I'm just getting into wrestling, and wrestling's always been Saturday nights for me. Yeah, like I said, I'm 28 years old. When I was growing up, pay-per-views were Sunday night. You had to stay up late in order to get the main event on a Sunday night. Go to sleep with all that excitement. Try and go to sleep with all that fucking excitement and wake up the next day to go to school. Like, but the problem was when Cena was in charge, there really wasn't anybody to talk to about wrestling. Whereas, like, in the Attitude Era, you know, I get this consensus that every single person went to school Monday morning after watching the pay-per-view. They're talking about, yo, you see what The Rock did? You see what Stone Cold did? You know what I'm saying? Like, you seen all this and that? So growing up in my era of wrestling wasn't really as fun as I hear, and from the Attitude Era fans. And the Attitude Era fans, you know, ask any Attitude Era fan, they'll tell you to this day, they'll tell you till they're blue in the face, they'll tell you, you know, it was one of the greatest times in wrestling ever. You know, it was peak. You know, you're not ever going to beat that. And I feel like a lot of mediocre celebrities and a lot of mediocre people nowadays who become celebrities, they have to, if I'm crazy, let me know in the comment section. If I'm crazy, just let me know. I feel like a lot of celebrities nowadays are very mediocre, and they have to shit on the past in order to elevate themselves, because you know for a fact that if they were trying to do whatever they were doing now in, like, say, the early 90s to late 90s, you knew they would be laughed out of the fucking building. You know what I'm saying? Like Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. Like, they would be laughed out of the fucking building. Like, what is this? You call this fucking music? Get the fuck out of here. Like, you're a hack. You're a piece of shit. Fuck that. We don't want to hear it. Stop. Get out. Like, stop. Stop this. This is ridiculousness. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the fans nowadays, like, audiences really have no standards. So they're always willing to, like, you know, like you see on social media, you see on TikTok, you see on Facebook, you'll see an edit made of something like very mediocre, and then there's a lot of comments. Like, I'll say something very recently. How about that? Monster, the Ed Gein story. Now, for real true crime fans, this wasn't factual to us. You know what I'm saying? We know the facts. You don't need to embellish Ed Gein's story in order to make him more interesting than what he already was. But I guarantee you, if you go on Facebook right now and you go on a comment section that's talking about the Ed Gein monster story, I guarantee you, you'll find a bunch of people that were like, oh my God, this scene was amazing. This scene was amazing. Oh my God, this scene where he's being told that he has schizophrenia is amazing. No, I'm not taking away from Charlie Hunman's performance. His performance was stellar. His performance was amazing. His performance was incredible. But I really feel like Ryan Murphy drops the ball, and I feel like a lot of YouTubers are soft when it comes to reviews and critiques and criticism, whereas you're not going to get that from me. I just come out with it raw. I think Ryan Murphy really drops the fucking ball with all these serial killers and these stories, because he has this weird vision of, like, I don't know, trying to make you sympathize with the killer. Like, Dahmer was great if he didn't try and make me sympathize with Dahmer a lot. And from me being a true crime fan and digging into my history and learning the cases and learning what Dahmer had done, it's very insensitive and disgusting that he tried to really make me feel sorry and feel bad for Jeffrey fucking Dahmer. Like, I'm not gonna ever feel bad for Jeffrey Dahmer. Do I think the crimes that he got away with were insane? And sometimes in my fucked up mind, do I think, oh, you know what, bro? He was like a supervillain and he really flew under the radar? Yeah, I think that about Jeffrey. But if you're ever gonna make me like go, oh, I feel bad for him, and you know, his family dynamic, if his father and mother had just talked to him a little bit more, then maybe, just maybe, he would have turned out to be a normal person. But it was the system that failed him. You're fucking insane. I'm never gonna look at Dahmer and be like, yeah, I feel bad for you, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Like, I really don't care about that. You killed people, you ate them, you lured them to your house, you drugged them, and you dismembered them. And on top of that, you kept body parts in your fridge and your chest freezer. Like, I'm not ever going to feel bad for that. And then you got people on, but you'll have people on Facebook and on TikTok. Oh my God, like, Jeffrey Dahmer's so hot. Like, all these edits. Like, oh my God, this and that. Like, you people are weird, dude. I don't know who's not telling you this, but the white man will be here to tell you that. You're fucking weird, dude. You are legitimately fucking weird, dude. And this is the problem with a lot of dick riding ass fans today, because they have no standards. You see what I'm saying? Like, something will come out, and it doesn't even have to be the monster series. It could just be anything. Like, I'll give you an example right now, like an imaginary show called The Island, right? And you'd be like, okay, what's The Island about? What's the premise? It's just a bunch of fucking people trapped on an island. You could say it's just Lost, I guess, but written poorly and badly. It's a bunch of people trapped on an island that kind of just have to survive. And people would be like, yo, that's the premise. Mind you, me and you, people like me and you would be like, that's the premise, that's fucking lame. Like, that's stupid. But then there's this whole tsunami of people out there that would be like, what are you talking about? That plot is actually amazing. And I feel like they lie to themselves and try to create excuses as to why they like mediocrity. And they're like, what are you talking about? You know, it's the fact that they're trapped on the island. And the fact that they have to find a way to escape. There's no way for them to escape. Okay? And then the indigenous people on the island are refusing to let them escape. Okay, but there's a lot of survivors on this island that apparently like somehow crash landed there. They could just kill the indigenous people and just, build a boat and leave. Like, what are you talking about? And then they'll argue you back and be like, well, they can't do that because the indigenous people won't allow them to do that. Like, what do you mean, bro? I'm probably not making a good point here, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it'll be something with such a dog shit premise, and a lot of people will just defend that. And they'll be like, well, and then the moment you question it, well, you just don't understand what's being said. No, I understand what's being said. It's a bunch of dog shit, and they're trying to gaslight me into believing that this is a good show that I should watch. When in reality, this is nothing but fucking slop that I'm going to not even remember tomorrow. And I feel like a lot of, like I said, I feel like a lot of people's standards are very, very low nowadays, which is, it's just kind of fucking disgusting to me. And it's really sad. And the problem I have with this, with a lot of people being dick riders, is that the more people hop on this mediocrity and they hop on the train to just cheer on this mediocrity and say, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever, when like this is the 5th greatest thing ever in a week. Like, us as casual viewers and as actual like hardcore fans of any content or continuity that we really enjoy gets watered down, and it starts getting catered to these fucking idiots that will just eat up anything. Like, take Marvel, for instance. The entirety of Phase 4 is fucking horrible. Now, I'll give you a second to either agree or disagree on that. The entirety of Phase 4 of Marvel is fucking horrible. Okay, so for the people that had just agreed with me, you understand where I'm coming from. For the people that disagree with me, I'm trying to get you people to get on the side that agrees with us. That this was just dog shit. But see, the thing is, you think I'm making fun of the people that disagree, when in reality, it's like, unfortunately, I just think they weren't raised in a time frame where Breaking Bad was out on television and you got really stellar television. These people, like, I was born too soon or too late. I was born in 1997, and I didn't really get to experience The Sopranos while it was live on television, but I watched the entire first season. I'm a little slow, but I watched the entire first season, and for me, that one season of The Sopranos, I know what the ending is. That's why I kind of dread watching it, through its entirety. But that first season, the entire first season of The Sopranos, I watched it and finished it because my uncle said this was one of the greatest TV shows of all time, if not the greatest. I watched that entire first season of The Sopranos, and I said, you know what? I'm capped out here. Call me an idiot. I know there's going to be a lot of Sopranos fans that are going to be like, yo, you should really finish the series because you didn't get its full potential. But in the entirety of season 1, from watching from episode 1 all the way to the end, I literally felt like, yo, this, I don't need, I'm giving it the greatest compliment here in a way, but in a stupid way, if you look at me like that. I literally am saying that I don't need to watch it in its entirety to understand that this is one of the greatest television shows of all time. Whereas somebody's gaslighting me, telling me that, yo, this is one of the greatest television shows to come out of all time, and I'm watching it, and by still in season 3, I'm like, I really don't see what you see in this show. It took me 3 seasons to really try and see what you're seeing, and this is just straight dog shit. And the moment you say that, it's like, well, you just don't know what the director was trying to do. You just don't understand. And I'm like, bro, I really don't see what you see in this show. It's just really bad. Like, House of Cards to me was one of my very first shows. I'm sorry, I'm lying. Breaking Bad was the very first show that I binge watched, and I watched it years after its popularity. And that's on me. By the time I had finished Breaking Bad, I had nobody to talk to about it because by the time I finished it, everybody was like, "Yeah, bro, that's been established that it's one of the greatest television shows of all time." Like, where were you when this was on television? I'm one of those people that feels like when every single person is hyping it up around you in your circles, like at your work circles, your family circles, your friend circles, I just feel like this is one of those things where it's like, okay, the show is just overrated and people don't see how fucking stupid it is. But I made the biggest mistake of my life. Now I know some people might try and catch me in a gotcha and be like, see, but if a lot of people are saying it's one of the greatest things of all time, why don't you just watch it and give it a shot? I do that. And I hate doing it today because when I do watch a television show nowadays, I'm like, damn, I just wasted my entire fucking time. Whereas when I was watching the seasons on Netflix back to back to back years ago when I was at my sister's house in Connecticut, I stayed up to like 5, 6 in the fucking morning to basically try and squeeze in every single fucking episode that I could watch of Breaking Bad. And the whole time I'm watching Breaking Bad, I'm like, dude, why did I not watch this show when it was out on television weekly? Granted, I feel like I appreciated it more, the fact that I got to watch episode back to back to back to back. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, I think it would have been really special if I was to be able to watch this weekly and wait for the anticipation for the next episode. Because it was so great watching the transformation of Walter White from a normal high school teacher or college teacher to a full-blown meth-dealing kingpin. Manifesting from a normal, everyday suburban dad into this meth-dealing supervillain, this super genius. It was actually incredible. It was one of the most incredible things I've seen in television history. Now, granted, people would be like, wait, you watched all 5 seasons of Breaking Bad and say it's one of the greatest shows, but you only watched 1 season of The Sopranos and you didn't finish it, and you say you already knew that was one of the greatest television shows. Here's the reason why I know it's one of the greatest television shows of all time. I don't know when its first release date came out, but I'm going to say it's been 25 years, I'm assuming, since The Sopranos ended. And to this day, people say it's one of the greatest television shows of all time, if not the greatest television show of all time. So, therefore, when I watched that first season, and by the time I'm getting all these reviews and having people tell me this is one of the greatest television shows, if not the greatest, I didn't need to finish the series to understand like the beauty of this entire show. Sure, granted, one day I am going to finish it, but that one time I watched an entire season of The Sopranos, I already understood. I already got the greatness of the show in one fucking season. And if that doesn't tell you how it's one of the greatest, if not the greatest television shows of all time, I don't know what to tell you. Whereas Breaking Bad is different. Breaking Bad ends every fucking episode on like some type of cliffhanger. So you feel the need to watch the next episode. Whereas Sopranos, I feel like some episodes end on an actual conclusive episode, or they conclude their actual storyline during the episode. I could be wrong. I only watched 1 season and I watched it a couple years ago. But that's how Breaking Bad kind of kept you coming back. And I feel like it learned from what The Sopranos did. I'm very sorry if you guys can't hear me clearly right now. I don't have my microphones. I think my wife put my microphones away. and I'm trying to whisper because it's like 2:37 in the morning right now. But yeah, I hope everyone understands what I'm talking about. But I'll get back to the main point. Nowadays, it's like, my wife's gonna hate me for this. I do like Stranger Things, but Stranger Things is more of a thing that my wife likes more than me. I do like it for the sentimental value of, this is something that my wife got me into and we watched together. But would I put Stranger Things on by myself? Yeah. But would I enjoy it as much as I would Mindhunter? No. Would I put Mindhunter on willingly any day, every day of the week? Fuck yes. But because I have two children, I can't watch the graphic content that is in Mindhunter or these serious subjects that they're talking about in Mindhunter. So, I know some people would be like, wait a minute, you have two kids, but you'd rather watch Stranger Things. It's aliens and monsters and fictional stuff to them. It's not real world stuff. So when they watch this and say, if my oldest gets scared and she says, Daddy, it's a monster, I can say, that's not real, honey. I can't go and tell her that David Berkowitz isn't real because that's a real monster in this world. I can't go and tell her that Ed Kemper isn't real because that was a real life monster in this world that we live in. Especially the photos that, that are shown in Mindhunter. I can't go and tell my daughter and say, yeah, that this stuff doesn't happen, honey. That's not real. That's bullshit. But would I put on Mindhunter before Stranger Things? Of course, 100%. Do I choose Mindhunter over Stranger Things? Of course. The fuck out of here. But when it comes to Stranger Things, I feel like it's one of those things where it kind of got blown over out of proportion, and by the time season 4 came around, everybody started to see the plot holes, and even my one of the biggest fans, which is my wife, she even said, "Oh, there's a lot of plot holes in season 4." Yeah, because these guys didn't really think through it a lot. And no offense to the Duffer Brothers, they created something new for everybody to latch onto. But, season 5 is coming up soon. And I know a lot of people are really excited for season 5 of Stranger Things to come out. But let's be honest, if they don't wrap up any loopholes and they just continue and say, yeah, you accepted what you accepted, there are going to be a certain subject of fans that are going to be like, well, I take this as a slap in the face. You didn't have me in mind with wrapping up all these loopholes. Do you see what I'm saying? And then but you had a lot of these people in mind that didn't care for all the loopholes, and they just wanted another season of Stranger Things, and they wanted the finale. That's unfair to the people that actually care about your show, that actually care about your product, that are willing to critique your product just because they care. And a lot of fans today, I feel like, are just dick riders who just forget everything that is bad with the show and just say, I like this thing because everybody else likes said thing. And that's annoying. And I say the damage that this does to all of entertainment is they look at the metrics, they look at the numbers, and they say, well, a lot of people enjoyed this. Yeah, a lot of people that don't have really good taste in movies or shows. And then people like me and you get hurt, and then we have to accept all this mediocrity because people who don't have standards that are watching movies and TV shows accept this nonsense that they have that are unfolding on their screens. It's ridiculous. And I find it disgusting. And I don't like it. And then people like me and you have to take the brunt of it. And the whole time that I'm pretty sure everybody's had this moment, the whole time that we're trying to say and point out and critique a show, there come these flock of people that say, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't see the brilliance in this scene. You don't see the brilliance that what the season is trying to say. You don't see the brilliance and what this director had done with this show. or movie. Did we watch the same movie or show? Are you a fucking idiot? What are you talking about? This was trash. And then when you say it was trash, well, maybe you just have bad standards. They're trying to gaslight these mediocre ass fans that accept mediocrity. Try to gaslight me, people like me and you, who have actual taste in movies and shows, and say that, well, maybe we just have bad taste in movies and shows. That's insane to me, bro. And this is stuff that bothers me. This is stuff that really aggravates me. And I cannot fucking stand it. But other than that, I'm not trying to talk your heads off or your ears off. I'm very tired. It's 2:43 in the morning. I just got back from a wrestling show. I hope all of you enjoyed what I had to say. This is the off-season podcast of the Yuddy Show. You will get this daily or weekly, and I will try to give you guys more shows or more podcast episodes of this format. Whereas the call-in talk show will be more like, yearly or bi-yearly. More yearly than bi-yearly, because I'm pretty sure if I did it bi-yearly, you guys, you wouldn't remember it. I'm pretty sure you can hear it in my tone that I'm very tired. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I will see you guys in the next edified video.